Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. There are still those who would say, and what does it feel like? And they address my partner and they would say, to channel as you do, seemingly so easy. There's no deep breathing exercises, there's no getting ready. And I will tell you, when my partner steps aside, is it a phrase that is used? You realize, do you not, that in this process called channeling, right this moment, we are using everything that this human being's body has, including his intellect, his language, his culture, pronunciation, what he's learned. All of that comes with filters. All of it comes with what we would call human baggage. And what he has done is to slowly remove as many of those things as he could identify, as I could identify, as others have identified. And by stepping aside, it means literally that the filters are pulled. And in that, the portal that is the higher self through what we have called the pineal, the esoteric pineal, is open. And through that opening, I come. There are those who have said, is it really Kryon? A name no one ever heard of. Or could it be my partner's higher self? And the answer is both. For it requires my partner's higher self to deliver the message that I have. And so it is a partnership. You might even say there's three of us here. There is the human being, there is the higher self of my human being partner, there is me. And then there are the questions, and who are you? And the answer is yes. I am part of the creative source. I've never been a human being. I'm the teacher. I've been here with you. I belong to Earth. There is no other Kryon in any other planet. I've never said that before. Oh, I've been there, but not in this role. I've watched humanity with you, human being, you and your soul and me, watching the Earth cool, knowing what was at stake. And then I remind you that the soul group that you are has come from many other planets. Yes, you are the ETs. You have had so much experience in this galaxy, way beyond that of a human being. It's bigger than you think. And all of this is shut out to you. My role is to then start the process of reminding, to expose things that you, using your discernment, will find to be true or not. That is my role. Now let me reveal some things, and let me tell you some things. I'll start with the review. Crossing this bridge is going to change human nature. My partner spoke of this earlier, that human nature is going to shift, but it's got to have elements that are new in it for it to shift in the way that you would expect that we have seen in other civilizations. And that shift is what we're going to talk about today, because it requires you begin something new. And you got to do it slowly, but you must have it identified. In the last year or so, we have given you messages about what you've done. We've told you about the year of recalibration. We have told you that this is the first year of true human civilization as it's going to be known in your future. In order for these things to take place, you're going to have to shift and change. You're going to have to shift and change. And then I started reminding you what those shifts would be. I even gave you some suggestions, and I planted some seeds of controversy that I'm going to tell you about. I did it on purpose, and I'm going to tell you that in a moment. All of this to begin a process that you need to hear. Kryon, what is it we need to do next? What is the role of a light worker? If we are old souls, shouldn't this be intuitive? And I'll tell you that, no, you've never been here before. Your brain is going to be of no help here. Do you understand that? The brain is a record of experiences. It helps you with survival, and we've told you that before. Emotional survival, we've told you that before. But it has never, ever seen what's coming. It won't know how to react. It may guide you in poor ways because it's experimenting. It's time for you to open other avenues to give you good advice. Now, you knew that. But you don't know how big that is. And that is going to become the new human. We told you the results of it, but we never told you how to begin. We'll get to that. We've given you channel after channel about the potentials of the new human being on the planet. We've painted pictures to you that warmed your heart. We've told you that integrity is going to build itself as the new postulate of the age, and that you're going to come to expect it in all places, that it will be intrinsic to human nature and not what it is today. For today, it's still the infancy of the human being showing itself as if on the playground with children. It's going to shift. It's going to change. We told you you're going to see it in government. You're going to see it in business. We told you you're going to see it in the places you least expect it. We told you some of the institutions that you have now that are not filled with integrity will come crashing down unless they change. They have to. We told you that the recession you're in is an example. What happened when you discovered that banking didn't have integrity in the system in this country? You're still paying the price. That is the kinds of things, and those are the kind of things to expect. Now, what are you supposed to do? Here you sit. We've told you you're like farmers ready to plant a seed, but you don't really know what to plant. You're ready to watch the crops grow, and you're saying, we'll be patient, but you don't know what to plant. We haven't really started a process, have we, of giving you good, intuitive things to do. This channel will begin that. It'll begin it in a very small way. It's going to be informative, not instructive. No real instructions, more than information about how to proceed. But it has to start somewhere. We've reached the middle of 2014. We wanted to wait until there was an activation of the time capsules in Mount Shasta and in Turkey. The opening of those portals of information will start a push-pull energy on this planet that will start to give you more information. It's going to enhance what we tell you next. Now this is really important that you understand. You are used to a system where you sit at the feet of an instructor and you may take notes, and the instructor says, here is what to do, A, B, C, D. You write them down and then you practice them. That's all going away. That's all going away. And instead the instructor will say, here is the information to expect through your intuitive self if you choose to listen. And that'll be it. It's all changing. It's being placed upon you to start a process that you haven't done before. But the promise is that the process is going to be explained. There is a confluence of energy starting to occur on this planet through your grids, enhanced by these time capsules and these, what we'll call pairs that are opening, that we have told you about, that literally are changing consciousness, the frequency that you tune to. Old soul, what I'm telling you this in more plain language is this, is that the moment you open this door and say, I'll try, in will flood help. It's not going to be channeled in the way you think. It's not going to come in stages. It's not going to come as ABC, 1, 2, 3. It's going to pour into you in esoteric ways that you don't expect. Let's start. I'm going to tell you what we already told you. And now I reveal something. I gave you 3 instructions through the last year and a half that were designed to stir the pot. And there's a reason, and now you get to find out why. I gave you 3 bits of information that all got everyone excited. And not necessarily excited in a good way. Stirring the pot has brought out those who I want to talk to, who might never have listened before. I gave 3 pieces of information. Here they were. Number 1, I told light workers to stop spinning in conspiracy theories. Those who are attracted to conspiracy theories are normally light workers. Did you notice? And old souls. Did you notice? And there's a number of reasons why. And the interesting thing is that conspiracies that they champion and are invested in are often correct. I didn't say they weren't. I told them to stop it. And it didn't sit well, because that's their whole life's work. They got drawers filled with articles about what they're interested in. And all they want to do is get this information out so others will know what the government is doing to them, or what the drug companies are doing to them, or this group or that group or this group or that group. And what they see in this is their champion self helping the planet. And I told them it isn't helping the planet. I didn't want to hear it. Some of them left and some of them complained. And they said, use your discernment when you listen to that channel, because Kryon got that one wrong. I'm going to use a phrase, and I'm going to use it over and over. If you're one of those who is spending all their time, dear one, on a cause, a conspiratorial issue that you know is happening on this planet, and you want to help correct it, I've got a question for you. Look me in the eye and tell me how that's going to help peace on earth. It isn't. You may correct it. You may inform. You may get people to hold signs for you, and you may feel really good about that. How is it helping, old soul, with peace on earth? And the answer is, it isn't. Did you know that? Did you recognize that? And here is what I want to tell you. There is no judgment here. It's the best you had in an old energy. It's the best you had. Listen to me. Can you put that away and turn inward and look at yourself? How do other people look at you? Do they want to be with you? And you would say, well, no, they don't, because I got all of these things to talk about. And they're not helping really with the new earth. Not really. There has got to be a softening planet. These conspiracies that you are talking about, as real as they might be, I would like to tell you something. They are going to take care of themselves. When enough human beings in a new energy find out about these things you've been trying to tell them about, they're going to correct it. So you're going to get your way. Are you going to wait till the next lifetime to awaken? Or are you just going to keep going and spinning? It's not helping anybody. Not really. And they came out of the woodwork on that one. The next one was even more volatile. And it wasn't that long ago. And when I channeled it, my partner cringed. I could feel it. He said, Kryon, what are you doing? Now, I'll tell you what I was doing. I'm stirring the pot. I want to bring them out. I started to tell you how the Egyptians built their pyramids without ET help. They're smarter than you think. You're going to find out eventually they did it without ET help. There's also all kinds of things you're not aware of. Clever uses of water. And you have a bias. Well, they didn't have any water. Yes, they did. They don't today. Doesn't mean they didn't then. I told you the Nazca lines, why they were built, how they were built, and they were not runways for the gods. I started to identify what I will call common sense real history. And out they came. Kryon got that one wrong. Everybody knows ETs did it. Doesn't Kryon knows that ETs were here? Here's the funny part, dear ones. Remember what Kryon has said. I have championed the cause of ETs. You are all sitting here with ET DNA. And of course they're here. Their fingerprints are everywhere. But it doesn't mean they built the pyramids. Now, why would I say this? What is the reasoning? Why do I have to? I'm Kryon. I'm talking to you about the love of God. Why was that put in there? My partner didn't like it. Now I'll tell you why. Because there were all kinds of those who came out of the woodwork and would say, now, wait a minute. Now, he got that one wrong. Why are you listening to Kryon when he's got all these things wrong? There's a lot of light workers that are attracted to the ET subjects to the point where nothing else matters. And you're spending your life on it. And you know why? Because you're an old soul. Because you have all of that ET knowledge in your Akash. Of course you're attracted to it. Of course you are. You're an old soul. Many of you are even Lemurians, and that is your purpose. And I'm going to ask you something. How is this helping peace on earth? You want to figure out how they did it? You want to prove a point? Go ahead. And in the meantime, you are so valuable to humanity. Can you listen to me for a moment when I'm telling you, go ahead. You have free choice, but how is this helping peace on earth? When you sit there with that tool set, when you have that ability, using your Akash to really, honestly see the fingerprint of the gods. Why are you spending your time on that? Why don't you turn your focus to the new frequency. Turn it in on yourself and find out who you are, because this is where you belong. And that's why I did it. Now my partner is saying, oh, that makes sense. I told him I'd explain it eventually. The third one I said was even worse. I said to New Agers, stop being weird. Who wants to be with you when you're an outcast and you act funny? And I said, is this what you want to show the world? You're unbalanced? Nice job. Because a lot of you are doing that. People walk the other way. And I ask you this, what master do you know that did that? The masters of the planet had balance. You wanted to be with them. You wanted to be with them. Do you realize that? And you didn't like that either. Because being weird was your New Age birthright. This is what you do. And you're proud of it. And I said, stop it. How is that helping peace on earth? You've got so much equipment. I want you to start balancing yourselves. I want you to step out of the weirdness. And you can, you know. Why don't you show people the love of God in your life instead of the strangeness you believe? I want you to weigh what other people look at. How are you going to help peace on earth? By being strange. Oh, you've got answers. Yeah, but Kryon, we meditate. We use compassion, and we help this area, that we're praying for rain. We're praying for this. We all do all these things. It's not going to bring peace on earth. That's going to be one human at a time in a balanced state claiming mastery. Mastery is balance. And this is what I want to talk about, because I got 3 instructions for you. Now we've come to what is the next step. And it's all about an energy that you don't understand. In the mode that you have come from, which is survival, you've used your brain. We have given you multiple channels about intuition. We've identified it. We've talked about what it is, where it comes from, how it works, how it doesn't work. Now we get into what we would call the nitty-gritty. Dear human being, I want you to understand intuition. I want you to understand that it is the new way of communicating, period. You've got survival and you've got intuition. The human body is designed to heal itself, to live hundreds of years through combining 2 things, the human brain and the intuitive self. And up to now, it simply has not done a good job at all. Because what has been missing is that intuitive self. It's not there. The innate, the smart body has to be at least equal to the human brain, and it isn't. It isn't even close. You barely open the door. I want you to start studying it. And the best way is with yourself. Do you have it? What is it? What does it feel like? That is the first step. You gotta walk before you can run. And the first item that I'm giving you after all this time is learn what intuition feels like. There are ways to practice it, and I have given them in the past. We're getting to that next. Do you have it? The answer is all of you. It is elusive, and we've even given you a channel called the elusiveness of the Akash and also of the intuition. Elusive because it does not present itself in 3D. Now, I have channeled something else, and I want to tell you about it. The minute you start looking, something's going to happen. I'll give you a metaphor. When you start to study something in 3D, and you hit the books, as they say, this is hard. And all of you have gone through this. A learning curve, a time when you realize that you must commit to memory certain kinds of things, and you've got to go to certain things in order to learn certain things, in order to pass certain tests. And the burden has always fallen upon you totally for this. You make the assumption that what is going to come next is exactly that way, and it isn't. Because now you got help. And if you want to know what the nodes and the nulls are about, and the time capsules about, and all of these things, it's preparation. It's preparation. There are legions of those preparing to deliver to human consciousness the tools that will accelerate what you're asking for. Another example is this. As soon as you open the door to say, I want to know more about intuition, I want to start learning what it feels like, there's going to be a hand that reaches toward you from that door and says, come on, we'll show you. You don't have to do it by yourself. And there's no way I can prove it. Here we go. You're in an area you didn't expect, and it's not 3 dimensions. Your body has a quantum attribute that is enormous, and you've never used it. You want me to give you an example of what the body can do that you might relate to? It's called spontaneous remission. Do you know what that is? It's the quantum body intelligence doing something almost instantly, because it can, within the human body by itself, without an explanation, so dramatic that there's only one possibility: miracle. We'll start thinking differently. What if it was about DNA? What if it was you with you? What if you were that powerful? And you only see it once in a while, don't you? Usually developed, by the way, in fear. Interesting. You are so big. There's an entire part of you that is about to open up. When you begin the process, the hand comes forward. You feel it. Oh, I see. Oh, thank you. Are you open and ready for that? This is not a study of 1, 2, 3. This is about what we've told you 23 years ago. It's called pure intent. Here it comes. The new tools are arriving. Number 2, once you have identified what it feels like, the next thing is to capture it and practice it. There are ways, dear ones. We're not going to give them to you now. I'm just giving you the 1, 2, 3s of what may come in a way you don't expect. You can practice intuitive thought. There are ways of identifying it and using it, challenging it, seeing if it's right or if it's wrong. I will tell you something we have never said. The intuitive self is every bit as complicated and as big as the human brain. Do you know why? Because it has more parts. Every single molecule of DNA is ready to work in tandem to create this. You've got hundreds of trillions of those parts. It's bigger than human synapse. Imagine an intelligent body that was not centralized. It's the human Merkaba. That's what you're developing. The whole thing. It's going to dwarf the brain. Now, the brain is good as what it does. It'll continue doing what it does. It'll do it even better because it'll start marrying with the intuitive part. Now, the pineal, it just hides there as a very small little organ, sitting there doing its job. making melatonin and serotonin. That's all you think about what it does. But it's quantum. It's bigger than you think. It's the portal. It's part of the human brain. It has to be. Now, think with me for a moment. You see, there's a cooperation, an alignment, a confluence, a partnership, anything you want to call it. They're not separate. They're going to be together. The human being who starts to awaken to its own quantum energy using intuitiveness in ways that we are going to discuss eventually is one who starts to enhance the whole human being, does not compartmentalize brain and intuitive, but melds them together. That was two. And the third one? I want you to start counting on synchronicity. Synchronicity, the unexplained events that happen out of synchronicity with randomness. They have coherence. Imagine coherence of accidents. Now that's an oxymoron, isn't it? A coherence of accidents. You accidentally meet somebody, you accidentally are in the right place at the right time, you accidentally find out this, that, and the other. You accidentally find the cure for the incurable. You accidentally find the love of your life. You accidentally run into situations you can't believe were always there right in front of you. This is Spirit working with you, and the more intuitive you get, the more synchronicities will occur. That really is the lesson for today. Is it possible, Kryon, that I can count on synchronicity? Is it possible I can count on freaky coincidence? And the answer is, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you know what's going to happen? Pretty soon you will walk a path and people will look at you and say, I don't know how you're doing this, but do you mind if I come along with you? You're just really lucky. And they may learn what you know along the way. And you take them by the hand, and in loving ways, you don't give them a Kryon book. You love them. You don't tell them about conspiratorial issues. You don't tell them about how the ETs built this and that and how we're all wrong and the way we got it. You save that if you have to. You look at them and you love them. Maybe that's too hard. Maybe that's too hard. And for those of you who just want to spin, this is the hardest thing you're ever going to do, is stop spinning and look at other human beings and love them. Hardest thing you'll ever do. Some of you in this room are equipped for this and ready for this and wanted to hear this. This is the balance that's going to save this planet. Human nature is going to shift into the intuitive part. You're going to get guidance that nobody understands. You're going to walk a path where everybody's going to say, you are really lucky, because you're counting on things that are chance to somebody who's looking at you in 3D. But it isn't chance at all. You are connected. And you're using your intuition to be in the right place at the right time. That's synchronicity. And that leads to co-creation. Do you see how that picture now is changing human nature? The more humans who learn this and do it, the quicker you will have a confluence of consciousness that starts to actually shift in a way you can see it on the news. Look for it. That's when you'll know you're achieving something. Watch for the good news channel and you'll know you're achieving something. People who tune in only for the great things that are happening and the good things that are happening. Watch for corporations to outdo each other in integrity and transparency. It'll be a contest and you will say, I'm on another planet. Watch for it in politics. We've told you these things before. And you'll say, no, that's a stretch. You got that one wrong. Do I? If you live long enough, you're going to see it all. This is the potential we've given you. Start slow, dear ones. I want you to recognize intuition. What does it feel like? Then I want you to start practicing making it work, and then leading into synchronicity. I just gave you a lifetime of work to do. But you got to start now. And here is the final word. Whatever you learn this lifetime, you will awaken with the next. Because your DNA is going to be working a whole lot better the next time around. What you learn today will be carried in tomorrow. Guaranteed. This is part of the new human being on this planet. And it's the beginning, the very beginning of peace on earth. I am Kryon in love with humanity. Congratulations. And so it is.